What's up, guys, and welcome back to Let's Play Elden Ring Kikikita Edition! Wow, my voice cracked. That's okay. Okay, let's move forward, shall we? And by forward, I mean find the correct path to go down. This looks good. I'll take this one. Wait, was there another path to go down the other side? Or am I just crazy? For some reason, I thought I remembered seeing... Oh, you know what? The other path, I think, is just the... Yeah, it's just the Dragon Temple. The Dragon Temple Transept. So, I was like... I thought I remembered seeing a path down. Alright. Continuing crumbling for Missoula. And, yeah. Speaking of which, let's go to the comment. Jeremy Scott says, I wonder if the lack of illusory walls in Far Missoula is indicative of their society predating that deception and practice, choosing to respect their religious state instead of hiding secrets within them. I would say that it makes sense that that would be after, that like the illusory walls would be afterwards. I don't know if that means, like, I don't think it's necessarily an honorable thing. I think it's more that illusory walls are probably a magic sort of thing that came from the cosmos. That'd be my thoughts on it. Hi. You just jumped up from, like, there, I think. I'm trying to decide if I should drop down to this spot or not, basically. Oh, wait, you know what? I think, actually, this ladder is just going to take me right down there, so... I was probably having a lot of thoughts about a whole lot of nothing. Wow, it looks so cool when you look at it like this. Hey, I know that spot pretty well. There's probably a set of grace around there, if I remember it so well. And then this path that we're seeing right in front of us is going to be a big old boss run. And, I think that's a tree sentinel over there that you can't fight on horseback, so another one of those punishments. Oh, I finally watched that video, by the way. I'll comment on it a little bit that I was asked about last episode by Joseph Anderson. So I'll talk about that a little bit and my thoughts on it as well. Oh, have you handed in all the death roots you've collected from Mash Keyboard? I don't recall seeing it. I think it's on the to-do list for the night hunt, but that's just worth mentioning given what's coming up. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I was thinking about that, and I totally forgot that I need to do that. So thank you. I appreciate it, because I had completely forgotten once again that that's something I need to do. So, yeah, I'm going to, before I go fight the boss here, I'm going to hand in all the death roots. I think there might be some other stuff over there I haven't done, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Over in like the Kaled area that I'd like to do before I finish Far Missoula. So thank you for the reminder. And then I don't know, maybe I'll do the night hunt first too. I'll decide. There's another boss here too that I could face, and I just have to decide which one I'd like to do first. Okay, I guess it doesn't matter which way I drop. That looks like something floating in air that shouldn't be, because it is. What is in the air there? Oh my god. I thought I targeted, and I didn't. I was expecting to just auto-lock on and roll. Hey, I'm back. Just like that. Yeah, that was such a stupid death. I really thought I'd, and I pressed the target button, but clearly I missed targeting the pop over here, so... That's what went down. That red lightning stuff again, we're just seeing it everywhere, which definitely came from the dragons that they worship over here. Old Fang. Actually, you know what? I think that's actually everything that you can get in this spot over here. There really isn't, as far as I can remember, much reason to go around here to this side. But other than me being a completionist and making sure everything's done. Okay. You know what? Let's also check this edge. Oh, wait. All right, there we go. For a second, I thought I was going to fall. Okay. There we go. All good. Keep on going down the crumble. Oh, this is so cool. Yeah, the area looks absolutely incredible. I know, actually, I think Yuki Desato had a comment about that, if I remember correctly. Yuki says, been a while since you commented. No worries on that. So many parts of Elfi... Oh. I really feel like FromSoft would have wanted to add more detail in the game if they had time. So many parts of Elfi Island, nooks and crannies around the game seem like some secrets or hidden items were meant to be placed there, yet it's just more useless space without real lore implications or items. On the other hand, since on my first playthrough I used my imbued key to get to Nokron, the first time I went to Far Missoula, my mind went numb. I think that every FromSoft game has one of these surprise new areas, and I should have been... Wow. What an ass. You really took advantage of me reading a comment there, huh? I wonder if you guys were just watching the video. I was looking down at a comment the whole time like, dude. On the other hand, since my first playthrough, I used Nimbuki. Okay, so I think every FromSoft game has one of these surprise new areas. In Dark Souls 1 was Ash Lake, and Sekiro is Fountainhead Palace. In Elden Ring, Farum Azula, Siofra, and the transporter chest to the capital were massive for me. Yeah, I think you're right. I guess Demon Souls doesn't, that I can recall. So I guess Demon Souls would be the odd one out, but all the open world ones. I'm trying to think if Dark Souls 2 has one. Dark Souls 3 definitely does. Oh yeah, so these statues here, to me, that beast looks very similar to the Beastman, who we see. What's his name? The one who eats the death roots. So yeah, to me, it looks a lot like the one who eats the death roots, but. Yeah, I'm trying to remember Dark Souls 2 if it had an area like that. Dark Souls 3 definitely does. Bloodborne. Yeah, Bloodborne does too. The way that you can get taken to one of the areas, for sure. But Dark Souls 2, I don't know. Alright, I'm going to get this item first. I keep on trying to debate, like, in my head, like, where do I want to go? Where do I want to go first? I guess I'll go behind the back way first. So many options, man. So many options. Oh my god. Of course. I should have suspected that would be a trap. Should have known. I have no one to blame but myself. Does Dark Souls 2 have an area? I guess, you know what? I guess the Shrine of Amana. That was a pretty cool wow moment, in my opinion. Even though Shrine of Amana, once you know the game and you're good at it, is an awful area, but visually it's extremely impressive. But it's also, it's not like a secret. I think for me, like, Ash Lake was bigger and Siofra is bigger because they're optional. So for me, those are personally the bigger ones, are the ones that are not mandatory. Okay, so we could start going down this way, and that's going to eventually be the correct way to go. So we're going to head up instead. Because of course we're going to go the wrong way first. Did you even have a doubt in your mind that I would go the wrong way first? Alright. Nice attempt, but it didn't work. I'm sorry. Okay, let's go this way. Oh, yeah, that's cool. We're going to definitely go up there. I think that's probably the way back. To the area I wanted to show off. Oh no, here it is. Never mind, that's the area back. So that's gonna be the elevator that's gonna take us back to the beginning, essentially, where I saw that dragon on the roof that I was talking about. Here the question more is there actually a reason to kill these guys, and are there any items? Okay, so there's a somber smithy stone 9. Oh, that definitely would have been worth it. Had I not known about it, or well, had I needed it, that's a good item. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. You can go. Goodbye. Give me that sanctuary stone. Okay, so let me read this comment. I want to eventually get to that, talking about that video, though. From Jeremy, this is back to Mikkel and Melania. Jeremy thinks Elizabeth made a great point and agrees that Mohg's abduction of Mikkel came before the Shattering War. However, Jeremy will contend that this would be an excellent reason for why she would wage war all the way down to Caelid. Nobody else subverted fate to excel the Golden Order except Radahn. And why would Melania have any knowledge of Mohg's existing? He was born way before her. Why would she not think Radahn did it? Okay, so I agree that there's no reason that she would think Mohg or Radahn. Mohg did it. She doesn't know about Mohg existing. I completely agree with that. The other part of what you said, I'm not sure. That's where I'm like, I don't know. Still, because I mean, it could be the case. That could definitely be a reason. You fall off too. It could definitely be a reason. Ooh, Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. Very nice. Very nice get for going up here. I'm not saying it's not the case. Obviously, I don't know. This is all just lore interpretation stuff. And it could very well be the case. It's more just I can't see why Melania wouldn't have been around to protect Miquella before the shattering. It seems like the only time we really know about Melania leaving Miquella's side, especially since she knows that he needs protecting, is during the shattering. So I guess it's just I can't see why she would have left him. Other than for the shattering. I mean, or like him being stolen, but again, like him being stolen right in front of her. It seems kind of odd to me that that would be the case. So, that's just my thoughts, but, you know, I could be wrong. If you have problems with the Godskin Duo, try using Sleeping Pot. I'm aware that that's definitely a way to handle them. I was just trying to do it without using items like that. But I do prefer that idea over Spirit Ashes, honestly. From Haitani, it's such a cool detail when Melina starts reaching for the flames in the beginning. You can see she already seems to have old burning marks on the back of Ram, which are already healed up. Yeah, it's definitely, like, there's so much mystery around her. So intriguing. All right, so the Dragon Temple lift, and our goal is going to be to go all the way back here now. From Pegasus 105. Maybe for a cheap laugh, you should have the level 9 music from Legend of Zelda playing during the playthrough. Is that from Zelda 2? The Greeks would also place a coin underneath the tongue for fair across the river Styx. Oh, for some reason I thought it was just the eyes. I guess I screwed up in my Greek mythology class that I took a long time ago. Honestly, it's probably just the fact that it's been a long time. Alright, here we have a great area with lots of these guys that we're going to have to fight. And it's great because there's so many of them. It's wonderful. Oh my god. Okay. I'm definitely not being facetious at all. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, like there's a bunch of big boys here. And honestly, there's not really that much reason to beat them. You can just run across, like grab this and run. But I'm doing it just because I've already started going for this stuff, more so, honestly. Alright, let's kill this dude. At the very least. Which one of these guys did I start on? I don't know. Wow, they're both going fire at the same time. Hopefully that works. Oh god! There we go. Yeah, it's just the fighting. Big groups. Big group mitigation. Alright, this should take him out. Yeah, it's so important to take care of those. It would suck if he came back to life, any of those guys. Alright, that group is mitigated. So if I do die, I never have to deal with this little section again. That's how I say it. Okay, so let me think about the video. I only watched it once. The Joseph Anderson video. So, I haven't like super thought about it all the way. I'll say that there's things that just watching an initial watching I agreed with and things that I didn't. There's some complaints he made that I agree with and some that I don't. I agree that I do think the game's a little too big. I don't think it's necessarily automatically a good thing for games to be huge. Then again, it is filled with content, which is a plus. But there is a repetition that you start to find, and you can view that as a negative or a positive. And I've seen it both ways. And for him, it was a negative, where it's like essentially once you know what a tunnel is, every area has a tunnel. They're always about the same thing. They're always designed relatively similarly, and they always have the next upgrade of your smithing stones. Similarly, there's always the catacombs, or as he pronounces them, catacombs, in his video. Again, you always know what you're going to get there. It's a positive or a negative depending on your personal opinion. For if you like that sort of repetition, if it means you know what you're going to get, at least they are all designed somewhat different, and it just means that, you know, for you as someone who wants, say, Ghost Glove Warts, that's your goal. You know what to look for and where you can potentially find that Ghost Glovewort. Then the negative side, which is more where his opinion seems to lie, is that it's a lot of repetition, right? So it's like, okay, I know like every catacomb is going to be similar, therefore it makes it not fun to go through because it's going to be similar in the same thing. So I guess maybe because I'm a middle child and my opinion always tends to be in the middle about things, I'm a little bit in the middle on this specific topic. I don't think either is necessarily good or bad. And obviously, you know, the argument that he's making is that in this case it's a bad thing, right? So he's not... I think that's always the case, is that all this stuff can be good or bad depending on the situation with a lot of game design. So for me, and then he kind of compared... Oh, sorry, let me just keep on going with his points. He compared the Chalice Dungeons favorably to this, as at least with the Chalice Dungeons, because it's generated with an AI instead of handcrafted. You know, it's going to be different. At least you always are going to get something different if you do that sort of approach, where it's always going to be slightly different, even if it's similar. So that was his pro. As far as my personal thoughts go, why won't this guy pop down? I don't like the repetition. I guess I agree with him on that. I can see the positive to it, but to me, it does take out a little bit of the discovery. I also see the necessity of it from a game this huge. From a design perspective, they probably just didn't have time. And again, for me, that's sort of the negative of having something this big. Something I've always appreciated about From Software games before this, and this one included, is the handcrafted design and handcrafted feel of it, compared to, say, a Skyrim, which I actually like Skyrim a lot, but I feel like it feels to me less handcrafted. Like, things don't feel like they have as much purpose as, say, Dark Souls, where everything feels like it's there for a very specific reason. It really has a true handcrafted feel to it. And to me, that makes the world feel more living and breathing. This one is much better than most open world games in that regard. I feel like a lot of it does feel very handcrafted, especially the legacy dungeons. A lot of the world design that you roam around in feels very deliberate. It feels very different and unique. So they did a very good job with it. But I think where I start to feel it personally is in the repeating of things like the tunnels, repeating of catacombs, and where that can bring a security of, I know what I'm going to get for some people. For me, and, you know, okay, I go to a tunnel to this. And it also makes sense, honestly, from a lore perspective that, okay, ore is found underground, or smithing stones in the game. Smithing stone is found underground. So where are we going to find smithing stones? Ooh, grave scythe. Where are we going to find smithing stones? We're going to have a tunnel in every single area, and every single, like, kingdom has their own tunnel for smithing. So it does make sense, but the areas inside, at least, then, they feel so similar in structure that it takes away from that fun to me. Okay, order of acquisition. So I think I more so agree with him on that repetition factor, but I also didn't hate it. I noticed it, and I didn't hate it, but it was just like, it's definitely better than the shrines in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, as an example. I think that's an issue that you run into with a game of this size, and that's where you start having issues. The Great Scythe. Great Scythe comprised of a large blade affixed to a crooked stick, weapon wielded by the aged gravekeepers who tend the forgotten graveyards throughout the lands between. This weapon is said to have served as a charm against evil spirits in times of old, and my favorite weapon from Dark Souls 1 as well. So that's my thoughts on, I guess, that specific aspect. One of his solutions that he brought up, or one of his issues, was the repeated bosses, and this is something that I don't agree with as much. Where I guess it just didn't bother me as much as it bothered him. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Okay, Golden Lightning Fortification. Let's take a look at that real quick before I fight a whole bunch of dragons. I think it was a spell. Let's find out. Yes. An incantation of Erdtree worship. This incantation was used by the Knights of the Erdtree during the assault by the great ancient dragon Grandsax and the bitter war of the ancient dragons that followed. Okay, so this is the Warren Lane Dell that it's talking about. So, anyways, like I said, as far as the repeated bosses go, for example, his gripe was these dragons that we see right here. He was talking about where at first it was this epic battle experience that he remembered that was so memorable when he first fought against the dragon in the open field. And then you start to find that there's all these different dragons. They all feel the same. And then you start to know their moveset pretty damn well. And it just becomes routine. So he doesn't think it's handled very well. Whereas other From Software games have done it, but to a better degree. Because there were battles that didn't mean as much. I guess I don't mind because, to his point where he argued that, like, okay, the Taurus Demon and Capra Demon were done well in Dark Souls 1, is one of his arguments that he makes, because those are battles where it turns out the enemies are just normal. They're normal enemies. I think you can say the same thing about the dragons in this game. It turns out the dragons are a fairly normal being, and while at first you thought it was this epic thing that you fight where you're like, oh my god, I'm fighting a dragon, it turns out they're pretty normal to the lands between. It's not really the most unique thing that you could be fighting here. And I don't think that's really a bad thing. And for the most part, most of the battles that there's duplicates of, it really didn't bug me. There are a couple that it does that I agree with. For example, Astel. I liked Astel a lot. It was just this crazy cool boss. And then when you find another one in a dungeon, as he points out, it feels a little cheapened. So I'd agree with that for some of the bosses it doesn't work as well. But the dragons specifically, I don't agree with. I don't think it mattered for the dragons. For me, personally, I think it falls into the same realm as Capra Demon. It falls into the same realm as any other one. And also the whole fighting the legs thing, it's not the ideal way to fight them. So it kind of feels interesting to me when you're used to fighting them horseback. That's the ideal way to fight them. And then you have to figure out a way to beat them not horseback. Again, very personal to me. It doesn't bother me. Clearly it did for him. His proposed solution was to just not have those enemies appear. And I disagree with that. Or just have nothing there. Less is more, right? But I think part of what makes Elden Ring's open world work so well is the abundance of field bosses. So let's take, for example, the what are they called? The guys with mandibles. I'm gonna look this up. I started to look it up, and then I just happened to remember the Falling Star Beast. That was another example that he used of one that he thought. There's one placement in a crater where you're on a horse, and it's a really epic, cool battle that's out of nowhere. And then it turns out there's like two more of them, those Falling Star Beasts, and that was another one that he didn't like and disagreed with. Again, that one to me didn't bother me. For one, I found it to be an interesting challenge to fight them without a horse in an instance where you do. Fighting it with a horse is the ideal way to fight that monster initially. And then when you fight it without a horse, all of a sudden, it's not a big deal, I guess. And you learn how to fight it, and you realize that the iframes that you have without the horse are also their own boon. It's its own really strong thing that you can then learn how to fight it in a different way. Similarly, I actually really like Torrent combat. I think Torrent combat was handled really well. I don't think Torrent needed iframes. It makes it a very different combat style, but it works when you get used to it, and I find it fun in its own right and different. I actually think it's good that Torrent doesn't have iframes, because it differentiates Torrent battle and Torrent combat from on-your-feet combat, and it makes it so certain enemies are going to be ideal with Torrent, and certain enemies are actually going to be ideal on foot. Let's take Radahn, for example. That was an example that he uses in his video. Radahn, you would think it's ideal to fight Radahn on horseback because Radahn is horseback, but actually, because of iframes and the way that it works, it's actually more ideal to fight Radahn on foot. It's a much more ideal way to fight that. And I personally, when I finally started trying to fight Radahn on foot without the enemies and learn his moveset, personally, I didn't think it was an issue. Um, okay, sorry. Personally, I didn't... Texting my wife. Personally, I didn't think Radahn was an issue. Radon's fight didn't bother me at all. When I started fighting him, I didn't have issues with the camera, and maybe that's just me. Maybe it's a wider thing of people having issues with the camera. It didn't bother me. I think the Radahn fight is a great fight. I really enjoy that fight. Not only do I like the gimmick of the Radahn fight, of getting the enemies to help you out, as it's unique. On top of that, I thought it felt like it was a unique enough challenge to me. It was challenging enough to me in its own way when you fight him. He does have a moveset that you can learn, but it's difficult, and that's why you have those enemies there. But it also doesn't feel unfair. Melania, on the other hand, I mostly agree with him. I think Melania's flurry attack is a load of crap. Even when I finally beat Melania this time, I really hated that fight, and oh man. Wow, I cannot believe I survived that. That was ridiculous. I really should not have survived. Okay. I guess... I don't know if I can fast warp here. See if there's any other way for me to go. Well, at least I'll have a full bill of health for when I go fight him again. So hopefully I remember to put the Diddy Kong Racing music in for this, because I wanted to show how short of a run back it is once you've already done the rest of this area. So anyways, back to Melania. So Melania, after fighting her a bunch, maybe I can figure out, because I never really fully got to a point where her flurry attack was one that I could, like, or water sword dance or whatever it was called attack was one that I could truly fight properly. I never got to that point with it. And I know you can. I've seen Let Me Solo her. But I just don't know if they did a good job with that. And by that, I mean, I don't think they did a good job. It feels way too difficult. But similarly, some of his bosses that he complains about having way too long before you can get attacks in. We'll see how I feel about Malekith this time. And I'm not going to say who that is or anything. And I hope I didn't spoil anything here for people who weren't there. But he complains about that boss, and honestly, I think that boss was one of the easiest bosses for me. It took me like 4 attempts, and I don't remember having any struggles or anything where I was like, oh, this feels unfair or anything with Malekith. But maybe I got lucky. So we'll see if this time it's any different. It's funny, I actually decided I was going to try my Spirit Ash with him because I was in a rush at that point, making stuff for work. And my Spirit Ash literally fell off the edge of the cliff right when I summoned the Spirit Ash. So I didn't even have it in my final attempt. In my attempt that worked with him. And I just did fine. I did totally fine. No Spirit Ash or anything. So maybe it's just me. I didn't feel like there were... One of his complaints is a lot of bosses you have to wait way too long before you punish. Melania, I actually don't think that's an issue with Melania. Like, when she runs at you with her flurry attack, the amount of time you have to wait in between that, didn't bother me at all. And also, I was using one heavy weapon, and I could very, very much go aggressive with her, as you probably saw in that episode. I was being extremely aggressive. I wasn't waiting very long in between her attacks, and I was able to really read her pretty well by the end. It was just that flurry attack, and it wasn't that I had to wait for the flurry attack. I honestly would not have minded at all if it was an attack like that she does every so often where you do have to wait a little bit for a little bit of time, which is one of his complaints. I should specify. His complaint is needing to wait around for bosses that do very long movesets that you dodge without being able to punish. It wouldn't have bothered me with Melania, except for the fact that it's so insanely difficult. I don't need to read this. I don't know why I was trying. Again, the issue for me with her, specifically... Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no. I didn't realize there were 2. Oh, what a waste. All right, quick cut. Alright, I'm back, and I completely lost my train of thought for what I was talking about before. I think it was Melania. So her flurry attack, to me, the issue is not that it's there's time you have to wait before you can get an attack in. That doesn't bother me at all. What I do find to be an issue is that it's so incredibly hard to get away from, and you don't have enough time to predict it, which is something that he complains about as well. So again, it's not the timing factor, it's the how. Let's say she does it, right? I can predict that she's going to do it because she has a big lead up. But even once I know she's going to do it, even once I start to prepare for the fact that she's going to do it, there's really nothing I can do about it, right? So for me, that was the issue. There's nothing I could do about it once I knew that she was going to do that attack. It was just going to happen, and I was going to either get lucky, it felt like, or not get lucky. With specifically her first part of the strike. Interestingly, every other part of her strike, the second one's fine, the third one's fine, it's just that first part of her strike. At first, when I fought her, I hated the fact that she could heal the way that she can. It drove me crazy. But eventually, I honestly grew to not mind the fact that she could heal when she exchanges hits with you. Because, again, it was like any other boss. You have to learn its moveset. And once you learn it, like, it doesn't really matter. Essentially, it was just another way to give her more health, really. And the better at dodging you are, the more that you can negate that moveset of hers. I suppose the fact that he brought up with the shield is a good point, where if you have a shield with Melania, she can still drain your health by hitting the shield. I never play with a shield on bosses like that, so it's really difficult for me to properly be able to assess that, but that does sound like a problem to me. It's more of just a problem that I personally didn't have, but I'd say that I probably agree with that being an issue with her. I think in general she's not a great fight, and I think that's the general consensus with Melania, is that she's not a great fight. So I think I just preaching to the choir, you know, by saying that Melania is not a great fight. Everyone knows that. Okay. Anyways, I think that's everything. There's one more spot I want to check out, which is another drop that I don't think there's anything in. Nothing interesting is going to happen right now, other than the fact that I need to deal with these guys so I can warp away. So I'll go ahead and just quick cut it at this point. Okay, so the one other part I want to show is dropping down over here, and then I guess I'll keep on talking about that video. So I wanna preface this with also the fact that Elden Ring is not my favorite From Software game, and I've said this before. It's also not my least favorite From Software game. I think it does a lot of things really well, but I didn't get as much enjoyment out of it as, say, Dark Souls 1 or Bloodborne or Sekiro, to be honest. But I did get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I think they did a lot of things really, really well. It's interesting. I was thinking about Sekiro a lot recently, but let me find the next quick spot to be. Okay, this is where I wanted to run to. It's just this spot right here, which I showed before. Just quickly get here. I'm trying to think about other critiques he had, and also positive things and other stuff that I agree, disagree with. Those were just the ones I remember offhand. I think, like I said, one of the most major critiques he had that I disagree with was that just having nothing in some of those spots. Dragon Crest Shield Talisman +2. There's where that one was. It's funny that I had the great one, but I didn't have that one. By replacing the field bosses or some of those bosses that are repeated with nothing would have been better. That I pretty strongly disagree with. I think that was something that really helped the open world feel bigger. It made it feel stronger for sure when you have like some interesting encounters like that. Even if it's a repeated interesting encounter, I still think that helps a lot. I just want to see the talismans. Okay, so I'm just missing the non-plus ones. Obviously, in an ideal world, you know, ideally, that would be something where it's you have something new all the time in an ideal world, but I understand that it's a game and they only have so much time to make it and work on it. But yeah, I'm sure that ideally for them, they would have loved to have something completely new every single time. But I'm sure that's a time constraint thing, and I still agree with them and the choice that it seems like they made to have it so, you know, essentially what they chose. Sorry, I'm like in between figuring out where I want to go and like everything else with this area. Hey, look, it's a Crucible Knight. Everyone's favorites. You know, I've actually died to this guy, so I should probably do this just in case. You think with how... Oh, wait, I don't have a way to parry. I was going to try to do the parry method with him and realize that I can't. Yeah, so Crucible Knights are back, so that's cool. Why would a Crucible Knight be in Farah Missoula is a really good question that I just posed. That I'm posing to all of you. Why would a Crucible Knight be here? Answer me. As I try to think if there's anything else in that video. In general, though, it was a very good breakdown of what he liked and didn't like, regardless of if I agreed with things or not. I ended up subscribing to him after watching the video because I thought he did such a good job. So even if I disagree with something, don't take it as like a negative. At the end of the day, a lot of this is just opinions. And, you know, I think he did express some of the things that I had concerns with in a good way. You know, I think that certain areas could have been made smaller. He talked about Caelid wishing there was something else there, whereas personally I don't mind things like that, where he wanted like a bigger legacy dungeon in Caelid, or like a secret underground one because he thought that's what was going to be there. It's like, okay, just because you thought something was going to be there doesn't mean it was bad because there wasn't. It's the way that I guess I look at that. Oh, that's the way to go. Crap. I forgot about that. Okay, so I guess I'll go up the stairs first before I run down here. It's fine. I actually thought I was closer to the end than I was for some reason. I totally forgot about this little section. So, alright, let me go to some more comments, and if I remember more stuff about that video, I'll get to it. Arcane Shifter says, it's my birthday when I posted that video, so happy belated birthday! And I think actually that's everything so far for this video. Sorry if I missed anything. Any comments? So I guess I could just keep on talking about the other video. Just keep on going off on it. If I remember things I want to talk about, that is. You, get out of here, pupper. And you will be pretty easy as long as I don't get ambushed. Okay. It's interesting. Oh, this just goes right back to the area I was at before. Alright. See, like, that's where the staircase was. So it's just another upper path. I wonder if there's anything else here, though. I'm not seeing anything. Was this just a waste of time? It seems so important at first. I thought it was like a totally other area when I first decided I didn't want to come up here. Well, I got that dappled meat, so I mean that was like pretty huge, I guess. Okay. Gonna fast forward. All right, we're back here at the Site of Grace, and let me just rest here. Yeah, great. Bum, 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 ba-da, Dragon Temple rooftop. And give me a moment. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see. So, let's go do some final. Basically, this is the final portion, I'd say, of this area. So, of the Farah Missoula. You know, I thought Far Missoula, I was thinking after yesterday, it might just take 2 episodes, but, well, I guess most of it will be done after 2, right? Seems about right. Oh, nice. I'm glad that, the rolling one works for these guys. The birds. The birds! I think the other thing, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the other thing I disagree with what he was saying was how, like, bad a subsequent playthrough of this game is. Obviously, nothing will ever top a first playthrough of a game, in my opinion, when everything's new. But, like, I've replayed it multiple times for work, and I've replayed it for this Let's Play, and I'm not really having any, like... like, oh man, X, Y, and Z is so much worse playing through. Oh, I hate going to these areas. It's so tedious. I guess, like, what he finds tedious and monotonous isn't as much to me. And again, I think that's going to be a personal thing. That area below is going to be somewhere that we eventually go to. That we eventually get to. This is the episode where I keep on getting interrupted. Okay, so another dragon there. Obviously, clearly. Kind of just to make your pathway here a little bit harder, granted. So you can, like, just bum rush to him, take him out if you want, and then run back, which isn't a bad idea. Yet another dragon. Or not. Hey, I forgot there was a ladder there. Well, hey, the more you know. The more I know. But let's go this way first. Oh, my God. I didn't mean to go that way. Well, as rude as that was... Oh, no, I can't go down here. I was about to go that way down. Oh, man. I gotta get my runes back. Even though I'm at a point and level where, like, I have so much. Yeah, I wish I actually, like, I should have just rewatched the video again right before recording, but it's a long video. Just because, like, it is an interesting video. It deserves the views it got, for sure, and it brings up some good critiques of the game. But I feel like I could have talked about it a lot better if I, like, it was even fresher on my mind, even though I just watched it last night. Or, like, wrote down some, like, responses to it. But, I mean, ultimately, it's all just opinion, right? And there's probably things I brought up that bothered me that everyone was like, I love that. Alright, the Drake Knight set, which I think is pretty sick. Which actually brings me to another thing. Black iron armor worn by Drake Knights features the spoils of a dragon catch as an emblem of pride as both dragon hunter and partaker of communion. The cape is crafted with dragon wing membrane. I think this one's pretty sick. Okay. Features the spoils of a dragon catch as an emblem of pride as both dragon hunter and partaker of communion. From birth, Drake Knights speak not a word. They spend their lives pursuing the strengths of dragons for its sublime beauty and inspiration of awe. I find that to be a little odd. Like, you're just born and just start doing this stuff. You know, I was thinking like this one, but actually I don't like the wing part. That's, I think, the part I don't like about it. I think the Knights Cavalry is actually a little cooler looking. But maybe the gauntlets are sick. Let's see the gauntlets. Not sure. Whatever, I'll use those gauntlets for now. Let's change things up. Yeah. Now I've got cool dragon gauntlets. Pew. Oh, hi. I messed that up pretty badly. Hey, look, he's got gold in his eyes. That means he's gonna give me more runes. Thanks, Vidya, for letting me know that. Vadi's doing what I used to do. He's making, like, a lore video about, the Let Me Solo Her guy. It's like what I did with the Giant Dad lore video. Taking notes out of my book, eh, Vadi? I said it. I said it. I'm saying it. Okay, so anyways, this is the, wait a second. Oh, damn it. I was thinking, like, hold on a second. I thought there's something else up there, but maybe it's further along. Actually, yeah, maybe it is further along. So, I guess that could be all that's up there. Oh, man, I'm sort of not sure now. I'm like, uh-oh, did I miss something I wanted to get? Did I not? Bird, tell me. I was really hoping I'd have time for one of the big bosses here, but I'm not sure because I forgot how incredibly long this area is. And I don't even know how long I've been playing because of all the little pauses I've taken. And like some of the deaths this episode. I feel like I've seen someone also complain about this run of the dragon, even though it doesn't bother me at all. Oh, what does bother me is not killing these birds. There we go. Okay. Oh. Wow. Big miss, me. Big miss. All right. Oh, another... Ah! Bird! The birds are way worse than them, than the dragons. Oh my god, where is the bird? It wasn't letting me target it. That's what was driving me crazy. Get me the bird. Wow, that was just absolutely awful. Right as I say that this run-up doesn't bother me, I figured something like that would happen. Just to embarrass me. Alright, let's go ahead and take this just in case. And it's like amazing how many of these guys use this red lightning stuff. At first it seems like an oddity, and it's like, oh yeah, a lot of them have it. But I mean, it makes sense because you get it for joining the dragon cult, so it's not like it doesn't make sense. So what I'm saying is it doesn't bother me. It actually makes sense lore-wise. I think that's the thing too, is that like, for me, some of the prizes that might not be great prizes that I know he complained about, like he complains about the fact that like you get things that aren't relevant to your build very often in the game. Oh, that guy had like hardly any health. I forgot about that. So yeah, one of the things that he complains about is that a lot of the guys aren't really relevant to your build. Which I guess like I know in a game like Sekiro everything you find will be, but I think that's where like having lore text to me helps greatly with that as someone who enjoys the lore, because you still feel like you're, at least for me, you still feel like you're finding something big and important when you find a cool item, when you find a cool weapon, when you find a cool shield. Even if you don't end up using it, it feels like a bigger deal. And I guess they could have mitigated that, as he suggested, with armor, for sure. That would be one way to mitigate that. But I didn't think it was so bad, I guess. It wasn't something I honestly didn't even think about it. Like, to me, it was more just when you find items. But I think his suggestion was like, oh, why don't you break up the armor so you only get pieces of armor? You know, that's one possible way, and maybe that would have worked. But then it's kind of nice when you find full sets, and there are a lot of sets, so it's not like you're like screwed. You aren't constantly finding tons of armor either. So I don't know. I guess like it's one of those things where more isn't always a good thing, and that's just an issue that any game that's really big is going to face. And even if they didn't have tons of playstyles in this game, let's say you only had one playstyle, it was like Sekiro, and the game was this huge, it would have run into a similar issue. As far as like levels go and leveling up and how powerful you are, as he himself brings up, any open world game is going to have that as an issue. It's also something I brought up in my Dark Souls 1 critique, or I guess analysis. It wasn't really a critique, just a general analysis of Dark Souls 1. Was that with Dark Souls 1, once you have multiple branches you split off of at the end of the game, you run into the issue that the last one you get to is always going to be the easiest one for the last one you go to, just by the nature of you leveling up by going through the different branches. So they tried to find various ways to make it difficult without being necessarily levels. For example, there's the lava area where the lava is the difficulty part and navigating through that, as opposed to necessarily difficult enemies. I think New Londo Ruins probably has the most difficult enemies, I suppose, but like it then like the Seath area, the Duke's Archives, that's all just like more like puzzly in a way, and then the ice area you have to run through like something that's invisible at the bottom of the Tomb of Giants. Again, the part that they really do to make it more difficult is not being able to see. So they try to do different ways to make it difficult as opposed to just, here are harder enemies. It was more environmental-based challenges to try to trick you up, or trip you up, I mean to say. So, anyways, point is that when you get a big game like this, that's always going to be an issue, is like the leveling. And you can go the right way, technically, first, which is going the south path. And then you slowly progress level-wise, but it makes the other stuff a little bit easier, and that's like probably the proper progression. Or you can go out of order, and then the earlier areas are really, really easy. But I don't... So he complains about that as this huge issue with Elden Ring. Whereas I feel like that's in any of their games that are a little more open. Like Dark Souls, you could technically do the same thing. You know, you can go to Undead Parish last if you want. You really can. Undead Parish can be your last destination, and the gargoyles will be extremely easy. I did that in my Let's Play for fun. I decided to go to the harder areas first and ended up there last, and even at a low level, just because I had higher leveled weapons. Undead Parish was extremely easy. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just a different way to do design, where you can have something that you over level by going to a more difficult thing first. I mean, that's really, it's more so, I should say, just the nature of RPGs. That's going to be an issue that an RPG will always have, especially the bigger an RPG gets and the more open an RPG is. So I'm more like, I get the issue. I'm just trying to think if there's really a solution to it. And really the only solution is that I can think of off the top of my head is to make things more closed off. Or when you have things that are open environmentally, you do what Dark Souls 1 tried to do, where you make it so either A, there's a clear correct path, like they had with the beginning of the game. The clear correct path is when you go up into the Undeadburg right away. That's the correct path that you're supposed to take, clearly. Or you have like clear, you do environmental challenges to change things up. All right, let's look at the Dragon Tower Shield. This is just me, obviously, like, off the top of my head thinking, so I might, like, I have to think about a lot of this stuff a lot more, a lot of times, to really come up with a good analysis and, like, write it down, and I'll think about things when I'm writing. It's just me riffing. Dragon Tower Shield. Tower Shield engraved with a dragon, symbol of protection. Heavy even among gray shields. Right, and we know that makes sense. That this is the symbol of protection. We've heard that a lot. The ancient dragons who ruled in the prehistoric era before the Erd Tree would protect their lord as a wall of living rock. Wow, it's basically the exact same description as in flavor text that we got from the Dragon Talismans. Okay, so I think that's the main thing that we're going to be getting up here, it seems like. So it looks like this area has been finished. But let me just check one time with this. A? No, nothing. I'm really just like looking for the invasion because I know there's an invasion. And I guess it's later on. Give me the invasion part. Oh wait, maybe it's right up here. Could it be? Because all I'm going to be thinking about is where's the invasion until I get to it. Where's the invasion? Where did I miss it? Alright, that's where I fell down. Thank you for all the gravel stones. So, alright, anyways, that's what I can think of off the top of my head. I think Elden Ring's fantastic. It's not my favorite Souls game. I think it runs into a lot of open world issues that open world games run into in general. But at the same time, I think it has a lot of good solutions as well. And let's watch them fight before we go fight him. We'll let the Crucible Knights take care of some of this stuff for us. So, wow, they're not hurting him at all. Great. Thanks, guys. But that does show you some factions, right? It's like, I was asking why the Crucible Knights were up here, and clearly they're going to fight the Beastmen. So they're on the side of the Erd Tree still. So they're here to take some names, as it turns out. I need to heal. Oh, of course. I forgot that they had that running attack. Very good. Very good of you to have that running attack. Uh-oh. That could have been bad real fast. Real bad real fast. Okay, this is my chance to heal. So you always gotta use that as. I really hope I defeat this guy, because otherwise it's gonna be a long run back to get here again. That's what's really on my mind. Great. Oh, did he just kill himself? Well, I hope I didn't miss getting any items for that. Well, usually I think it just gives you it when they die, doesn't it? That would suck if he had like a cool drop I missed, but somehow I doubt it. I think going up here is actually going to get me to the invasion I've been talking about. I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think. Let it be so. Invasion? No, it's a bird. Bolt Drake Talisman +2. Alright. Just again, out of curiosity, I want to see which ones I'm at. +1, +2. Okay. Cool. Cool. Makes sense to have that up here. And I think this looks like... Is it where the invasion is? No. This is just right back. Okay. So basically I just did a big loop. You can tell exactly where I am now. We're at this bridge again. So that's good, because I have a lot of runes, so that's okay. And I'm running low on my healing. Which I've always thought that the flasks were brilliant, because it really does, like, give you, basically, like, that's your how long can I safely explore limit there. So how many mistakes can I make limit. And it's a nice way to do it, as opposed to, say, Demon Souls, where you have grass and infinite grass if you really want. So I think that was a really great invention that Dark Souls 1 had that I don't think I talked about in my my design retrospective, which I really should have. So I'm talking about it now. Great job, From Software, when you designed that. Demon Souls had a lot of great stuff combat-wise that it introduced that Dark Souls 1 just basically nicked into the same thing, and same with every From Software game since. So a lot of it isn't necessarily as much worth talking about for a retrospective of like a Dark Souls 1 as more so a Demon Souls talking point. Because in a lot of ways, this is still the same game as Demon Souls, just like really leveled up in a lot of regards, and a lot of like size ideas that's brought to it, the connected world. Something I'll say I think I agree with Joseph about is that I actually still think Dark Souls 1's connected world is more interesting to me than Elden Ring, personally. But I do enjoy Elden Ring's open world, and I think they did a great job with it. I just like that everything in Dark Souls 1 feels so intricate and connected and important, as opposed to the giant open world field of Elden Ring. Just like, I feel like there's going to be some other guys. Oh, the fact that, yeah. I was like, I know that someone's going to come out to try to attack me. It just looked like a trap. Because it was. It was a trap. I knew it. Oh my god. Seriously. Alright, I am back. I'll go ahead and pop this just to be safe. And I think this time, I know that guy's going to ambush me, but I'm going to see if I can get like a slam attack and just take this guy out right away. Because yeah, what really killed me was the lightning. And okay, there's the big boy. Decided to be nice to me. You know, I guess what killed me last time was I got hit by 2 of those lightning strikes, right? Oh god, oh god. Very close call. A lot closer than I would have liked. No. That was so dangerous what I did there. Because if he beat me to the punch, I would have died, I'm sure. Alright, Sanctuary Stone. What you got here? Somber Stone, Bell Miner, Bell Bearing 5. Oh, I didn't know you could get a 5. Wait. Does that let you buy up to 9, I guess? Yeah, Somber Smithing Stone 9. Huh, okay. I guess I forgot about that. Alright, let's again do this. Nothing I didn't think there would be, but, you know. Had to do it. And yeah, we're coming to the end here. I think, yeah, okay. I know where I am now. I was like, okay, I can go to that boss if I want to. Which, maybe I will. Yeah, you know what? Let's just do that boss. Let's get everything behind me taken care of. So, some of you know what I'm talking about, some of you don't, and that's fine. You'll see shortly enough. So, there are 2 major bosses here. I guess 3. You could, one's the Godskin duo. This is always how I found this. I totally forgot about, like, this was my way to find it, funny enough. So, running out this way, this is the way to another major boss that's pretty hard to find, that's pretty secret, that I thought was out this way. Hold on a second. Did I leave through a wrong door or something? What is going on with me? Oh, there it is. It's amazing how, like, even knowing where it was, I still missed it. I knew that this was the area, and somehow I still totally missed it. Anyways, we're going to head to the secret boss, and it also finishes off the quest I was talking about earlier with being able to get rid of the Flame of Frenzy. So if you do have the Flame of Frenzy and you want to get rid of it, this is extremely important to do. Otherwise, it's just kind of cool, and you get some cool stuff for it. But, oh, I mean, like, any completionist, I think, would want to do it, I guess. So, all right, here we go. We're going to lie down and see some really interesting stuff that I'm going to shut up for. So my question is, how does your character know to do this? Time is a really interesting thing here in, so cool looking. Time is a really interesting thing here in Fara Missoula. And as we've seen here, like, time reversing now for specifically for this to an older time or prior time. This looks like straight out of Godzilla, basically. But yeah, it's really cool too how it's cocooned like this. But it just seems to be like staying still in between time, essentially. But yeah, time is very odd at crumbling for Missoula. And this, I think, indicates part of why, and it has to do something with a greater being's power and not the greater will, but another greater being's power, I believe. So here's the Dragonlord Placidusax, which is another battle that is totally optional. That I just totally screwed up. It's been a while since I fought it, obviously, so I don't know how well I'll do and how well I remember it. So I guess we'll find out here. Let's see, 602 is going to be my base damage, I guess. Wow, very good, me. Very good. So 602. It'd be nice if I could use the Gut Sword against it. That'd be cool. Once you learn this moveset, it is pretty consistent. Oh god, I forgot about that. See, like, it's just me not remembering its moveset. But it does consistently do the same things, where once you know it, I think you can really just wallop on him and take advantage of him pretty well. Obviously, he punishes you pretty hard for any mess up, like any boss would, but it doesn't, I don't know, it's not like the most difficult boss in my opinion. Granted, I don't know if I'm even gonna be able to take advantage of this. I'd really like to though, because it will look cool. It's because it looks cool. 602. Uh-oh. Don't remember what this is. Oh, this might be where I have to dodge. Yeah, I have to pull off the dodge timings. My biggest issue with this part is knowing where he's going to come from. Because I think sometimes you don't have, like, the strongest indicator. Oh, God. Okay. Ugh! Are you going to disappear again, jerk? I don't know what that move is. Once again, I have to, like, whoa, watch out for, like, if he's going to do that fire breath thing. That's what was taking me out before. Nope. Oh, God. I forgot. I forgot. Again, even though I just said it, that right after that attack, he does his fire breath. I'm surprised he hasn't done his lightning, to be honest. I was expecting lightning again. Alright, where's he gonna come from? Sometimes I just like dodge around out of fear, to be honest. Oh yeah, that one hits me a decent amount of times. Because you have to dodge a specific direction, and that's what I didn't do. Alright, dun dun dun, what you gonna do? Okay. I think if those boulders hit you, that hurts too. It hurts a lot when boulders hit you in the face. Uh-oh. Nope. Shit. Oh, God. No, 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 no! He's probably gonna hit me again because I'm trying to dodge that. Crap. So, like, didn't know where he was. Oh, great. The beam attack. That you can dodge through if you get the right timing, but it's hard to. And I messed it up. I'm just more mad at myself, to be honest, for messing that up. No, whatever. Let's be safe. Use the second one. Uh-oh. Great. Hopefully I can at least get a couple attacks in here, but he's probably going to use fire breath. Yep, and I couldn't get away. Great. Oh my God, he hit me twice with that? It's funny, I was doing fine up until I messed up those laser beams. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, it was just fine. Everything was going dandy and great. Okay, now I know, or remember, that he does fire breath right afterwards. So I can not get hit by it. The way you should be. Alright. Alright, so for this one, right, basically what you want to do... Oh, what the hell? What is that? Doesn't look good. That's what it is. Just waiting to see if it had an aftershock thing, like some of these attacks do. Oh, great. Oh, no. Awesome. Where is he at? There he is. I thought I saw some, like, stuff over there. Wow, I'm actually surprised that didn't hit me. This is so close. It's not like a blowout either way. Literally as close as you can be. Okay, now he's going to do his fire breath thing, but I remember. See that? Memory. It helps. Hey, how about that? First attempt against Dragonlord Placidusax. I actually wasn't sure how long it would take me. Remembrance of the Dragonlord. Because he's pretty tough. Like, he's not the hardest, but he's pretty tough. Alright, so in order to... You don't actually have to beat this boss, but in order to use your... Actually, let me go to item type here. In order to use the Mikola needle, as it says, the needle is yet unfinished and can only be used in the heart of the storm beyond time, said to be found in Fara Missoula. That is this spot right here that's beyond time. And you actually don't have to beat the boss to use it. You just have to get to this location, which is hard to find. But to my understanding, you don't actually have to beat him. The nice thing is once you beat him, you can use it whenever you want. So, you know, that's the pro. All right, let's do this. And let's see. Let's look at my remembrance. Okay, the Dragonlord whose seat lies at the heart of the storm beyond time is said to have been Elden Lord in the age before the Erd Tree. Once his god was fled, the Lord continued to await his return. So, his seat is at the heart of the storm beyond time. So again, time thing. He was Elden Lord before who we hear is the first Elden Lord. So Godfrey's supposed to be the first Elden Lord, right? That's his title. But the Dragonlord was Elden Lord before the Erd Tree. So really, Godfrey's just the first Elden Lord of the Erd Tree and probably the first Elden Lord of the Greater Will. So again, I think the Dragonlord, god, who's fled, once his god fled, I think his lord, his god, is a different god than the Greater Will. Okay, so that's Placidusax, and that's something interesting with the dragons, is the dragons, too, had some sort of greater being influencing them. So, all right, let's go back here. And now, actually, I can buy some of those cool boss things. Where is the door that I want to go up? There it is. Oh, yeah, also, now this is all on fire. So I think... Oh, surprisingly, she's still alive at this point.
What use do you have for me now? I am a finger reader. I will remain here until their dialogue ends and the fingers speak again. Do as you please. Take whatever course seems most worthy to you. Now you may go. You'd force this tired old crone to work, even now. Harder taskmaster have I never met.
Alright, receive the power of the remembrance. So, we get Dragon King's Cragblade. Piercing gravel stone sword containing primeval lightning, a portion of the Dragonlord's power gained from a remembrance. This weapon commands great power over the paltry mortal dragons of today, and Placidusax's ruin. Transforms caster into the Dragonlord to spew golden breath from above. It can be cast while jumping. These are the dying wails of the Dragonlord who once dwelled eternally beyond time. And let's go ahead and buy this equipment now. Maybe I don't have it in real life, but I can have it in the game. Okay, so next episode I'll go ahead and talk to everyone. I forgot that this was going to be on fire at this point. So I'll talk to everyone, see what they have to say. I'm going to go ahead and do part of Dung Eater's quest next episode. I think I've heard that again, that there is one of his things you can find here. So maybe I'll go back to Crumbling for Missoula. I'm going to do everything except for the main boss there, and then I'm going to do the Night Hunt. So, the Night Hunt, I think, is next episode. Or maybe I'll do the Night Hunt first. But the Night Hunt is going to start next episode at some point. Either I'm finishing Crumbling or Far Missoula, or doing the Night Hunt, or both. And Dung Eater's quest, we'll see if I can finish it or not. So, that's everything, and I'll talk to everyone here. So that's everything. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Another major big bad boss down, and I'll see you guys next time. Later, guys. Peace.